I've been doing a good bit of recipe testing this week, so I've got a random assortment of different vegetables in my fridge that need to be used up, otherwise I'm going to put them where they belong the whole time, which is, in the trash. So I've got that zucchini, those carrots, a whole thing of mushrooms, and as I was recipe testing, I followed my #1 rule of meal prep, which is always make extra rice. Now why, you might ask? The reason is so that you have an excuse to make fried rice. Let's do it. Now, in my eyes, a good fried rice starts with these 5 things: some kind of oil, soy sauce, garlic, scallion, and then leftover rice. Just about every culture has their own version of fried rice. There's Indian fried rice, there's Mexican fried rice, Asian style fried rices. My family is Chamorro, so in our fried rice, we use Spam. So today I'm going to show you 2 different kinds of fried rice. The fried rice that I grew up eating, which is the Spam fried rice. And I'm also going to show you another one of my favorite kinds of fried rices, Kimchi fried rice. Fried rice is one of those clean your fridge out kind of meals. You can put basically any vegetables or meat in with some rice, garlic, and onion, and it's going to be great. It's a go by feel kind of thing. You don't need to measure, just use your intuition to make it taste good. Just for reference, I did take the weights of each of these ingredients in case any of you would feel more comfortable in knowing, but I can't stress enough that these values were not scientific at all. It just happened to be what I had in my fridge. So this is what I used for both of the fried rices that I made today. Just divide it by 2 for the amount that goes into each one. I used about 75 grams of scallions that I cut into thin slices. Both the greens and the whites got cut, but I kept them separated because the whites went into the pile with the regular onions. Next, I cut up half of a medium onion, or about 85 grams worth, into a small dice. I also had a zucchini in the fridge that weighed 160 grams, and I cut that into a small dice to match the size of the onions. I did the same thing with 135 grams of mushrooms, and then I diced up 2 carrots that weighed 140 grams. I wanted each of these vegetables to be roughly the same size so that they would cook evenly in the pan. Lastly, I grated some garlic using a microplane. If there's one tool that everybody should have in their kitchen, it's a good knife. I got this Henckels forged Premio chef's knife at Target a few years back for 40 bucks, and it has been my go-to knife ever since. And then out of nowhere last summer, Zwilling, the company that makes that knife, reached out to me and said, "Hey, we have these Fresh and Safe vacuum bags we think you'd like." And I said, "Dude, I love your knives, been using them for years. Let me tango with those bags." And TMPM Nation gained its first ally. So if you're looking for a new knife, here's 3 options to consider. In most of the videos on this channel, the knife that I'm using is this Henckels forged Premio 8-inch chef's knife. I've got 3 years of use on it, and with regular sharpening, it's still good as new. This knife is made in China with German steel, has great balance and weight, and a full tang. It's currently selling for $44.99 USD. One step up would be the Zwilling Gourmet 8-inch chef's knife, made in Germany of high carbon steel. This one is a bit lighter, but it still has the full tang and will run you $69.99 USD. And the granddaddy of them all is the Zwilling Pro 8-inch chef's knife. This is a forged knife made in Germany, and it is the best of the 3. It's a bit heavier, which I like, and it just feels good in my hands. I've got bigger than average hands, so one of my knife requirements is for it to be tall enough to give my knuckles space, and this knife does that well. It also has a full tang, and I personally only like knives that have a full tang because of the added stability. It is the most expensive of the 3 at $159.99 USD, but it can last you years if you take care of it. These are all great knives, and I've included a link to each of them in the description if you are interested. Thank you to Zwilling again for sponsoring this video. And now for the star of our show, the Spam. I'm not going to use this whole can, that's a lot of Spam. So let's take half of it, about that much. We're just going to dice it up. This will be about 120 grams of the diced Spam. We've got a wok on the stove. Let's turn that on over medium-high heat. Speaking of our friends over at Zwilling, if you're in the market for a new wok, they just came out with this Dragon wok that's made of carbon steel. I've been waiting for them to make a carbon steel wok for a while now, and this thing is awesome. Now, once the wok starts smoking a bit, I'm going to add a tablespoon of oil, and then I'm going to add in the onion and scallion whites. Something to keep in mind if you want to make the best fried rice is that this is fried rice. If you want it to be the best it is, you've got to use some oil, so you can't be afraid of it. I'm also going to add in my Spam. This is 120 grams of Spam. That's going to brown and fry up, and it's also going to release quite a bit of oil. So as this cooks, we should see some more oil there at the bottom of the pan. Now that that Spam is starting to get some color around the edges, I'm going to add in my carrots, zucchini, and mushrooms. I've got about 60 grams of each of them in here. I'm going to give it just a tiny amount of salt. The Spam has plenty of salt in it, so I don't need a ton in here. But salt will help to encourage water to come out of those vegetables so that they cook a little bit faster. Keep moving those around. If you need to add more oil to this pan, do it. This has been going for a few minutes now. Those carrots are starting to soften. So now I'm going to throw in a little scoop of green onions and then about a half a tablespoon of garlic. Now we can add in our rice. This is 4 cups or about 600 grams of leftover day-old rice. All right, rice is in. Let's create some room in the center. I'm gonna add some more oil, probably about a half a tablespoon or just enough to cover that bottom right there. And then I'm gonna crack in 2 eggs. Watch this, I learned this in prison. Flop. Can I do it lefty? Can I do it lefty? Not as good. Oh no, there's a shell in there. Oh no, where'd you go? I lost it, it's too late. I gotta scramble. I'll find it in my mouth later. There it was. Is that it right there? Please be it. I have found it. Get out of there. We're golden. Mix everything back together and it's time to add our soy sauce. Because the Spam has a lot of salt in it, we probably won't need too much. Oh, that was too much. That was way too much. All right, so that's called a mess up. Now to fix that, I'm just gonna add some more rice. That was 3 tablespoons, which is probably a tablespoon and a half too much. So I'm gonna add some more rice in order to salvage that. Otherwise, this is gonna be too salty. Good as new. So in addition to the soy sauce, I like to add a little squirt of sriracha, maybe just like 2 teaspoons or 10 grams worth. And then for flavor, a little drizzle of sesame oil. A little bit of pepper too. Mix this together, and that is Spam fried rice. Taste test to make sure you like the flavor, then you can plate it up and eat. And here is our Spam fried rice. Ooh, I'm excited to eat this. Let's bowl this bad boy up, see if I can fit it all in here. A perfect fit. All the people out there who think Spam is just some dirty potted meat, you're right, it is, but it's incredibly flavorful. And I guarantee you, you're eating this Spam fried rice. Now to make it look nice, what we can do is sprinkle a little sesame seeds over the top just for the aesthetic, as well as a few of those scallion tops. Love that for me. Love that for me so much. Spam fried rice. I'm excited to eat that. If you need the calorie and macronutrient information for your own fried rice, you should weigh and measure all the ingredients that you used and input those into an app to determine those values. Kimchi fried rice is going to start the same way. Turn on your wok, let that heat up. Once it starts smoking, we'll add a bit of oil and then get to cooking. Pan's hot. Let's add about a tablespoon or so of oil and then all of our vegetables. We got about 60 grams of onion, zucchini, and mushrooms. And then a similar amount of carrots. Now the reason I added all these in at the same time, as opposed to doing it separately at last time, is because the last time with the Spam fried rice, I wanted to get good browning on all the Spam. I don't have any meat to throw into this one, so I can just put these all in at once. And I am gonna salt this a decent amount just to help pull the water out. Allow those vegetables to brown. Again, if you need to add oil because you see things are drying out, don't be afraid to do so. I'm gonna add in about 100 grams of kimchi. We're gonna saute that, let it caramelize. So once that kimchi starts to caramelize, we can add in the garlic and a few of the green onions. Keep that moving around. If you need to turn the heat down a bit, do it because we don't want the garlic to burn. All right, let's add in our rice. So that's about 2.5 cups of rice. Keep it moving, keep it moving. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of sesame oil for flavor, and then a couple of teaspoons of gochujang instead of sriracha like we did in the last one. And finally our soy sauce. A little bit slower this time. You probably won't need as much soy sauce in this one because the gochujang's got a lot of flavor to it, as well as the kimchi. So once all that rice is nice and red from the gochujang, give it a taste test, Season with salt and pepper if you need it. I'm also gonna fry an egg to put on top of this, but I need to take this out of the pan first. Here is our kimchi fried rice. All right, let's bowl this bad boy up. Plop a fried egg right there on top. And voila. We'll give it the same sesame seed treatment we gave the Spam fried rice, and then finish it off with some green onions. And here's our kimchi fried rice. Spam fried rice, kimchi fried rice, how can you not love it? There are very few things on the planet that are as highly palatable as this fried rice is. God, it's good. If I had to pick one individual food to be my favorite, it would be soup dumplings, but I'd have a hard time putting anything before Spam fried rice for second place. The first place I ever had kimchi fried rice was at Roy Choi's restaurant called Best Friend in Las Vegas, which is still to this day my favorite restaurant I've ever eaten at. Korean food is just the greatest there is, so mixing some gochujang and kimchi into a fried rice is an obvious home run. Fried rice is a perfect bulking food. You can eat so much of it. In my opinion, it's among the most highly palatable foods there is, and you can easily add some sort of protein to it to bump it up in that department. When I think of comfort foods from my childhood, Spam fried rice is the first one that comes to mind. We ate rice with dinner most days of the week, so fried rice got made often. Both of these rices are great, but Spam fried rice is the pinnacle of fried rice in my book. So remember, the number one rule of meal prep is to always make extra rice, and the next time you do, grab some Spam, use up those gross and disgusting vegetables in your fridge, and make yourself some fried rice.